And here we are, just ready to start Manchester versus ACOG. We are in the lobby, just waiting for the teams to start. So we're just going to tell them that we're ready, and hopefully we'll be underway.
Yep, and this is a replay of our last tournament's grand final. These two teams are fierce rivals. Our number one seed Manchester on the purple side, our number two seed ACOG on the blue side. Couple of things to note. I think ACOG have a substitute today. A player called Grandmother wasn't playing with them yesterday, but is involved in their roster, so it is not illegal. It's like a substitute in the LCS, but obviously with a null. So we're just telling the guys we're ready, and we're ready to go in.
Yep, so we're just having a bit of gladiators ready spam in chat. This is a clash of the titans, as you said. Who do you think is going to come out on top on looking at previous form? We've casted both of these teams, so...
Well, I think ACOG have looked stronger than Manchester in this tournament. I think Manchester had the edge last tournament, but ACOG have really been ploughing it through these sub 30-minute games. They haven't let a game run longer, really, that I've cast anyway, so far. So they've been really pushing that mid-game presence that they have. They've taken these big team fight games and taking out 3 or 4 members in a team fight and then pushing their objectives, pushing the mid lane. They like to 5-man push that mid lane and get that mid inhib down pretty early and then just dominate from then on. I haven't seen ACOG go too far behind in a game that they've played. Have you been impressed with them so far?
I think ACOG have played really well in all the games that I've watched them play. Manchester won the first game that we casted of them. I haven't seen them since, but I've been told that they've been doing really well in their games. We see a couple of bans coming out, Malphite being banned, Oriana being banned, and Zac. 3 people who are really very heavy on AoE CC late game. Obviously, ACOG here just trying to exclude that. We see the Shen ban, the Master Yi ban, and the Elise ban on the other team. Shen just really good for that global presence with the Stand United. Elise with her spider and human form, very good at jumping on an AD carry and just sticking on them and not letting them get away, a bit like the Aurelia did in the last game. And Master Yi, since his AD rework, has just been really good at killing people. Like, he gets his resets, and it's not enough to reset his Highlander, but you can get a couple of Alpha Strikes off, and if you build critical chance, you can get a lot of damage out really quickly.
Yeah, and Master Yi is a very strong snowballer. He can start off in that jungle. He doesn't have that weak early laning phase because Master Yi has this ability to cheese people, sort of like all in level 1, Alpha Strike and then auto attack death. But if he starts in the jungle, he doesn't have this sort of weak early laning phase and he can come out and get the kills in lane. He does need the kills to snowball, but when he does snowball, he's like Tryndamere. He hits like a truck. Obviously, we've seen the Shen ban. That is one of the first Shen bans I've seen all tournament. People not seeming to rating him in this tournament than compared to sort of regular solo queue and LCS play, but that global ultimate will not be seen. And Oriana, the bane of the mid lane so far. I think Oriana has been in almost every winning game this tournament. Her ultimate's really taking the team fights for whichever team has the Oriana, and ACOG just not wanting to see that. So we have the Jarvan pickup. That has almost been in every game too. Jarvan obviously a very popular jungle right now. And this is odd. Are we going to see a Janna mid lane and a Lulu support? Is this going to be a tactic that ACOG are going to pull out?
Well, let's wait until they lock in. Let's talk a bit about this Nocturne Thresh just to look ahead. Like, Nocturne, we don't see that often anymore. You can build him at attack damage, try and get a lot of damage out quickly using that paranoia and saying darkness just to get in really quickly onto an AD carry, onto the back line of a team and just melt them down. Or you can build him quite tanky. In conjunction with the Thresh with his death sentence and with his dark passage is able to just add to the mobility of Nocturne. I'd like to see him go AD, jump onto the back line and use a dark passage to get back out of that back line after just assassinating someone.
Yeah, and I know that ACOG's AD carry does play a lot of Caitlyn, and I've seen him play Caitlyn quite a lot. He's very good at doing that. However, I've not seen their Lulu play. I think they wouldn't have picked it if they didn't think that their support was strong with it, and I have seen their jungler play Jarvan a bit, so I know that they're strong on the champions that they've picked so far. And that's a Lissandra pickup for Manchester. I have seen Pedrillion play Lissandra in the top lane quite a few times. And he's been very good at it. I don't know if you remember the games that we've cast, but he really knew what he was doing. So this is likely to either be a Lissandra mid lane or a Lissandra top lane. Obviously, picking the Lissandra, you don't know which it is, so they can't immediately counter her. And the Varus pickup, Varus works very well with Thresh. If you land that death sentence, Varus has the ability to just get out a good few auto attacks with his Blighted Quiver and chunk down the opposition. And Thresh does work well against Caitlyn. If Caitlyn does get caught, Varus can get off that high damage, and Caitlyn does not have the ability to escape apart from using that 90 caliber net. But once that's down, it's about a 15-second cooldown. But we're being told that the guy is very good at Lulu, so...
yeah, apparently she's his main support, so be interesting to see how that bot lane goes. I mean, it's going to be difficult against Thresh and Varus, but they have a lot of damage in that lane. Caitlyn has the range, but if a death sentence lands, it's going to be really difficult for her to get away.
Yep, and that looks like it's going to be a Karthus mid lane and a Aatrox top. Aatrox can obviously jungle, but I'd be probably more likely to see Jarvan in the jungle. I think Grandmother is their jungler. I have seen in solo queue he has jungled with almost specifically everyone. I think he's played top games with Lee Sin, Maokai, Jarvan, and Nocturne. So he will know how Nocturne works in the jungle. He'll know where he can and can't counter him. Nocturne is one of those champions that is very hard to counter. He has the AD bonus from his Duskbringer. He has the ability to block spells. And he also has that fear, which can often leave you a little bit dead in the water if you do try and counter him. And that is actually a Renekton locked in. I have seen that this ACOG top laner play Renekton. I know that he does play Renekton, so that's a very strong pick. Obviously, Renekton being that big tanky bruiser.
The Karthus mid lane I think is really interesting, because if he gets matched up against Lissandra, Lissandra will Glacial Path into him to try and get her ultimate off and her stuns off, but Karthus with that Defile on, will they be able to do just a lot of damage to Lissandra? I'd like to see Lissandra actually ult herself when she gets in there, mitigating that damage and getting damage off onto the Karthus. He's taken Exhaust, so he'll be able to reduce that output of damage from the Lissandra, but I think what's going to happen is, actually we're seeing Ahri getting picked up, so it's Lissandra top lane, Ahri mid. Now Ahri's really good against Karthus because of that Spirit Rush. She can get in and out of that Defile really quickly, use her Charm, use her Orb of Deception, get a lot of damage down. Karthus is going to try and farm, stay back, long distance lay wastes, and it'll be interesting to see if Ahri can burst that Karthus down quickly enough, and if he actually manages to get the exhaust off quickly enough to stop that burst.
Yeah, Karthus is actually a fairly squishy mid lane champion. So with that Deathfire Grasp on the Ahri, he will be taken down fairly quickly. She can also use her Spirit Rush to get around that Wall of Pain, so she won't have the slow. And also she's fairly good at dodging lay waste and can get in and out of that Defile, like you said. This is the Lissandra top lane. I think Lissandra and the Renekton, I would give the lane to Lissandra just because of the range and the fact that she can slow pretty easily. She also has that Ring of Frost type spell that can lock them in place, and she also has the ultimate she can either place on Renekton or on herself when she needs to. She's actually running Barrier. This is probably to try and counter the Karthus ultimate. Ahri probably running the Ignite just to try and aim for the kills. I have seen... This is not the first time I've seen Quarren run Lissandra with Barrier, though. I think in the first game, casting Manchester, I saw him run the first game we actually casted at this tournament. He did run Lissandra in the top lane with the Barrier, so it's a spell that he favours over others. For those that are interested, this is ACOG versus Manchester. These are our top 2 seeds. Good quality game should be coming your way. Now that they've gone into game, what are you expecting to see in terms of overall tactics from each team?
I think the ACOG team is going to try and push towers. That's what we've seen them do before. They try to get those early towers, then all rotate to mid lane, get mid lane tower early, and just deny that map presence and that vision from the Manchester team. I mean, they have got a good push lane. Caitlyn's very good at pushing towers. Jarvan with the Demacian standards very good at pushing towers. Karthus good at clearing waves, perhaps not that good like auto attack damage. And Renekton's very good at tanking up people who try and get damage and push towers. He's good at just pushing those towers as well. The Manchester team sort of counters that a little bit actually, because Lissandra is very good at wave clear, Ahri's very good at wave clear, and Thresh, if someone misjudges the health left on a minion and it gets Orb of Deception and just dies really quickly, Thresh can actually death sentence before the minion's died. The orb kills the minion and the death sentence lands on a squishy target like a Karthus or a Lulu or a Caitlyn, and that will cause them to die because they're going to be under that turret. So it'll be interesting to see if Manchester are able to counter it properly, because I can see ACOG just going for those really, really quick early towers and objectives.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, Jarvan is obviously a champion that works well with Karthus. Karthus can run this suicide Karthus comp where he will just build as much AP as he can. He won't go bother for any survivability. He'll get himself locked in with Jarvan in the Jarvan Cataclysm and just do as much damage with the Lay Waste and Defile that he can, finishing off with his ultimate Requiem. Obviously, Renekton can sit in there with Dominus and do the AoE magic damage that he has. I think he does about 40 per second from level 1. And with Lulu offering her wild growth to anyone in the mix, she can slow down everyone, giving Karthus more time to use his lay waste, get more damage off his defile, and Caitlyn can just sit from the back line. I like ACOG's team comp right here. And remember, this is the best of one. This is an all or nothing. You've got to throw everything you've got into this game, otherwise you're out and down into the losers bracket, going against the winners of Imperial versus Warwick, I believe. And we have, on the other side, we have Manchester. They don't really have a specific AoE comp here. They kind of have like a lockdown assassinate comp. They've got Ari, good at bursting a single target. They've got Lissandra, who can lock down those single targets with her ultimate. Obviously Nocturne, single target ultimate as well, and Thresh and Varus. So maybe they're looking to try and burst down specific targets, try and get that Caitlyn down. Obviously Nocturne very good against the Caitlyn. If he uses that shield properly, can mitigate the slow from 90 caliber net. He can go in, use his Dustbringer to catch up with her, and try and chunk her down. I remember Odd One saying on stream, if you build Blade of the Ring King on Nocturne, you just can't get away from him. But on the other hand, they don't have any inherent tanks on their team, so I wouldn't be expecting Nocturne to go full damage, because it does mean that they won't have any front line at all. But with a Nocturne diving in, would you really expect to have a front line? It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how that Nocturne builds. Lissandra can be quite tanky, actually. If you build a Rylai's on her, you can even go for a Rod of Ages if you really want to, and make her that tanky person who can jump into the middle of the other team. The Nocturne, as you say, is quite a vital part of this. I'd like to see him get ahead early and just be able to tank people and just be able to use that paranoia to jump into the back line of the other team and just disrupt them while the rest of his team clears up that front line of Renekton and Jarvan. The Squishy Karthus is also an interesting build. I could see him actually going for more of a Rod of Ages just to try and not die to the Ahri, because Ahri is going to be very bursty in lane and get lots of damage off. So I'd like to see a Rod of Ages and just do the sort of more sustained damage Karthus. But he could also go Squishy and go for that Cataclysm Suicide Karthus.
Yeah, and it'll be great to see how this works out. I have seen Mr. TD in lane not do particularly well before, so if Pedrillion can capitalise on that, that would be brilliant. I don't know. I can't really call it from now. We've already said that we favour ACOG from the way that they've played previously in the tournament. But Manchester obviously have done well as well. They've obviously done well to get here. They've won every game, so they can't have been performing badly. I'm not sure how decisively when they won their games. I know they sort of had struggled against Imperial. They're actually behind by quite a far. And then they had to come back pretty hard, but they did eventually win that game, which does show a bit of mettle. You'd like to have a little bit of mettle in your team, but ACOG have been very decisive. They have not shown any mercy to the teams they've been playing, but then again, they haven't played against any teams that have had the same kind of threat level that I think Manchester pose. We did see them run some lane swaps. They put that Defunct on Vayne in mid, and that worked out incredibly for their favour. Really went far ahead. So it depends whether we're seeing lane swaps now. Caitlyn Lulu is a very strong lane pusher. Caitlyn Lulu can clear waves like anything. Obviously with the Glitter Lance and Piltover Peacemaker combo, maybe they'll be going for a lane swap here, but I don't know why they would, because I think Lissandra does well against Renekton, and I'm not sure Lissandra is a brilliant 2v1. But yeah,
the lane swap will be interesting. I don't actually see it coming out. I think Varus and Thresh can sustain themselves enough and just survive long enough in that lane to be able to face up against the Caitlyn Lulu. I mean, it will be interesting to see how Zanogra does on this Lulu, because we've been told that he's very good at her and he really enjoys playing her. I'm not sure how good Rabroni is on Thresh, but a good Thresh, I think, beats a good Lulu most of the time if he can manage to land that death sentence before the Whimsy comes out to get Lulu out of range.
Yeah, so obviously Grandmother on the Jarvan and Russ on the Nocturne. Who do you think is going to have the higher presence in terms of early ganks? Obviously I've talked about Jarvan having that really powerful level 1 to 4 ganks, and then even being more powerful Cataclysm. Nocturne not quite as potent. He has to hit a lot more skill shots to sort of get his ganks off, but the fear can be hit or miss depending on which way they run. Yeah. It's a bit like Fiddlestick Sphere. You can run towards your own turrets, but you can run back back into lane, so that's a little bit less of a surefire gank than the Jarvan. Obviously Jarvan having a bit more mobility around the jungle too, but Nocturne having that slightly higher clear time.
Yeah, the thing about Fear is it's very random number generation. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm just going to quickly change over the team name, so I apologise for the Windows bar in the bottom of the screen.
And we have just gone into games, guys. Ping's going down from ACOG, looking to get into the purple side red jungle, trying to stick a ward there maybe, or maybe even looking for the invade. Got us a couple of good luck, have funds coming out. Nice to see these teams being civil toward each other. I know they're very intense rivals. Nocturne moving over towards his blue buff, probably looking to just take a safe blue buff.
Yeah, I mean, a safe blue buff is all that he needs. Like, Nocturne starts off relatively slowly in the jungle. If you get Dustbringer, it's good, and his passive does give him a bit of extra clear speed, but I think Jarvan will probably clear his jungle a little bit quicker than the Nocturne at the start. It will be interesting to see what the first ganks are. Jarvan, I think, has a better start-off gank. We talked about the random number generation of the Fear. I think if Jarvan can get a good early gank, it will put whichever lane that is quite far behind, and Jarvan can repeatedly visit them. Even if he just gets a flash, he's probably going to come within the next couple of minutes just to try and get a good gank there. There's actually lots of pings because Jarvan's invading and there is a ward. The rest of ACOG are following him across. Karthus is actually still in the middle lane, so it'll be interesting to see if Manchester just follow up in this. A ward goes down there from ACOG, and they look like they're going to back out. Listen, I think they know that that must be warded because Manchester actually responded really well to that. Didn't put themselves in danger, but showed them that they knew they were there.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to get a Caitlyn trap down on that red buff just to highlight where Nocturne is probably going to be moving. Doesn't look like any lane swaps are coming out, but it does look like Nocturne's going for a late invade on the red.
Yeah, it's a really late invade here. I think Lulu might have actually saw the ward going there down by the Thresh, and they're pinging back across towards this Jarvan. Oh, he's going to go up here. She knows that Jarvan and Renekton are there. Lissandra's coming across as well. This is really late. Looks like Nocturne's going to get this red buff, but is Renekton going to be able to steal this buff off of the top? Looks like Ari's going to just back away and give it to them. The Sandra's actually gone back to base, so yeah, it's just going to be a red for red trade there.
Yeah, I think ACOG knew that Manchester had moved into that red. They had the ward up, they saw them moving through, and I think they just responded in kind. Jarvan not wanting to lose that early red buff advantage, and he looks like he's going for a really early gank on the Ari, but there is a ward there.
Yeah, there's a ward there, and we saw that ward paying off earlier. Here comes the gank. The Messenger General's Dragon Strike just misses. Ari was really good at just moving out of the way of that. Interesting to see Nocturne's actually left up one of the small minions of the red buff of the ACOG team here. What do you think of that? Because I know you're quite a big component of taking away all of the minions, so you've got the timer.
Yeah, I do like when you're countering, taking away all the minions so you know exactly when the buffers come up and try and starve them of that buff. You can always rotate your invades around those timers. So I don't know. I think unless he's not planning on taking any more red buffs from the Jarvan, he's maybe just trying to look to delay him so that Jarvan doesn't get his own red buff. But if Jarvan looks to invade Nocturne's red buff early on and take away his second one, that's going to leave Nocturne dead in the water because he won't have a red buff. He won't know when Jarvan's red buff's coming up, and he'll be kind of out of pocket really.
Yeah, looks like
Jarvan really looking to go onto this Ari.
Mid lane. Here comes the Dragon Strike, massive standard combination, hits the Ari up, but Ari's still got flashes, should be able to get away from this. Nice charm there onto Karthus. Lay Waste comes down, bit of damage, red buff ticking across, but she's going to be able to get out of there without using a summoner. Bot lane, Varus is extremely low, he's just being pushed back by this Caitlyn. Caitlyn and Lulu doing some really good harassment in this bottom lane.
Yeah, and apologies guys that we have it on 720p. We aren't dropping frames, and I currently am experiencing lag watching the stream as well. That's just because I'm running on ADSL and unfortunately don't have cable internet to deal with high qualities, so we do apologise. It's either Twitch or your internet at home because we're not actually dropping many frames here. The majority of people aren't lagging though, so we've decided to keep it at a higher quality just for viewer satisfaction. So yeah, I mean early on we're not seeing too much action. CS seems to be fairly even between the two. Renekton pushing this Lissandra back to her turret, forcing her to use not many of her pots so far. She still started cloth 5 pots, Renekton having started the door and shield and 1 pot. But they're fairly even on CS, as is the Ari and the Karthus, who are exactly equal.
This bottom lane, I think, is going to be one of the big goal differences, because Caitlyn's just CSing a lot better than this Varus. Really good. Jarvan's actually coming in for a gank. Here comes the Massing Standard onto the Thresh. That's going to go really low. Thresh flashes out. Nice death sentence. It's going to keep the Jarvan in range. Jarvan might go down. Lulu actually gets the first kill. Jarvan goes down to Varus. Varus now has blue buff. Caitlyn and Lulu are targeting him down. Headshot's going to come out. Is this going to be enough? Nice flash. Varus might get the kill. Barrier comes out. Not quite enough damage. There comes the pit over Peacemaker. Really nicely done by that Caitlyn there. She actually cancelled an auto attack by accident, I assume. Renekton going in top lane, using that Ruthless Pestilence, slice and dice to get some damage off. Yeah, so it's a 2-for-1 trade in that bottom lane. Lulu getting a kill, Caitlyn getting a kill, and Varus getting a kill.
Yeah, didn't turn too badly out for Manchester there. Lulu did pick up the first blood, so the gold bonus didn't go to the Caitlyn. They're not going to be completely dominant in that lane. Caitlyn could have gone 2 for 0 right there. Jarvan, however, did lose his blue buff. He's going to have a slightly slower clear. Apparently there's a bit of server lag going on, and the teams are complaining about it. We'll have to keep you updated on that as we go along.
The entire world
with a
is
really,
lagging
really
at the
good.
moment, obviously.
Pardon?
Just the entire world is lagging at the moment.
Yes, apparently so. Thresh with a really good reactional death sentence, pulling that Jarvan into the turret, and Varus just managed to get that last auto attack off. Jarvan nearly escaped with his flash. Varus then put himself
Jarvan
in a
actually
pretty
coming in
precarious...
mid lane. Here comes the wall of flame from Karthus. Defiles on. Exhaust goes out. RB flashes into the combination there from the Jarvan. Lots of damage. Here comes the Noxon. One more layaway. Oh, she's on like 20 health. Is she going to get taken down? Yes, Jarvan gets the kill. There's the fear. Random number generation keeps him standing still, and Nocturne's just going to hang around here in this mid lane to pick up the CS, but Karthus has hit 6 off that, so he does have Requiem.
Yeah, we haven't seen this Nocturne do much in the early levels, and Jarvan has really been all over the map exerting his pressure. He's been involved in 2 kills right now, and actually set up the bot lane pretty well, but there's a bit of damage coming down onto Lulu right now.
Lots of damage
Probably
to Lulu. She's just going to use Whimsy to get away, though. It's like she's not going to die. If she gets hit by a death sentence, she is on half health, so they might go in on it now.
Yeah, Lulu has got a couple of pots though, she will be getting back up, and Jarvan has just walked on top of a ward. They know he's there, but he's really putting his lane presence, his presence across these lanes, really forcing them back. And Cool Kelv just taking a bit of damage from Defunct. Caitlyn doing well with her Caliber Net and Piltover Peacemaker combo that you can do, hitting that magic damage followed up by that physical damage, and chunking quite a good portion of the health from the Manchester AD carry. So yeah, it's all in all going quite well for ACOG right now. They've built up about a 1k gold advantage early on into this game, and the top lane, as we classically call it, a bit of an island, does seem to be that right now.
Yeah, nothing's really happening in that lane. Lissandra is losing in front of Renekton, but Lissandra, I think, has the better late game. She's just got so much more presence in fights. She can use that glacial path to get around the fights as well. Renekton, usually good in lane, good mid game, not the best late game carry for a team, but he's very good as a bruiser, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the late game.
Yeah, you classically do well building Renekton as a bit of a tank, whereas Lissandra will more than likely be going full AP, maybe a little bit of survivability with that.
Lots
Zonya's
of damage
giving
down onto Varus bot lane, acing the whole. Thresh actually dodged, blocking it for him there, and Jarvan's actually going to steal away this blue buff while this is all going on. Lulu almost getting the kill there with a help picks. Here comes the Requiem, and that's going to not take out... Oh, it was charmed away! Really nicely done there by the RE. She pays for it with her life. Jarvan gets the kill on Varus, so actually, although she paid for it with her life, nothing good happened there for the Manchester team. Requiem came out. It was charmed away. Ari died because she went in to charm it away. Cataclysm here on the Thresh. He might go down to this Caitlyn. One more auto attack. Nice death sentence into the exhaust, into the play. Caitlyn's going to go down to Thresh. Really well played there by Thresh. But that's a 3-for-1 trade for ACOG there. And ACOG just played that really well overall.
Yeah, Jarvan actually jumped out of his Cataclysm before finishing off the Thresh, hoping that the Caitlyn would get the auto attack off before he had to leave tower aggro. However, Caitlyn got caught in the death sentence and unfortunately got exhausted, and then therefore couldn't escape, giving the kill over to Thresh. However, not the end of the world. Lulu, having picked up the Cage's lucky pick, maybe looking for a little bit of extra lane bully presence with that extra AP. However, she's not going to have much survivability, hasn't picked up any tanky items. Thresh, however, gone the opposite way, hasn't built any GP5 and has built the Sightstone with the Doran's Shield. He'll be tanking a little bit more. But since the Lulu and Caitlyn are winning the lane right now, I don't think it matters too much. And still, Nocturne is not exerting his pressure. However, he is farming quite well. 20 CS ahead of the Jarvan right now, and he is 50 CS. Picking up a Doran's Blade, not opting to finish off that Spirit Stone into anything just yet.
It'll be interesting to see how that works out, because I mean, Varus is quite ahead. Actually engaged here top lane, just Renekton being a bit of an annoyance there to the Lysandra. Caitlyn going on this Varus. Lots of damage coming down on Varus. This might be a kill here. Headshot, one more shot. Varus goes down. Really nicely done by the Caitlyn. Thresh was just off trying to ward. Didn't even place a ward, actually. And Thresh just not there for his AD carry in his time of need. Thresh actually going to go in. Here comes the paranoia from Nocturne. Giant growth coming out from Lulu. There's the fear, random number generation. Thresh dives into a bush. And there's a nice ward in that bush, means that Caitlyn gets the kill. They're going to try and tie this guy down. Lots of damage coming down to Nocturne. Nocturne flashes for it. It has that red buff and blue buff. Is this going to be enough to kill the Lulu? Lulu might get the kill here. Misses the glitter lance. There's the fear, random number generation. Going to send it towards her minions. Nice spell shield there by Nocturne. Nocturne gets the kill. Jarvan's coming in. Is Jarvan going to be able to clear this off? There's the Cataclysm, and Demacia wins once more. Really nicely played there by the Jarvan. Nocturne did so well not to die. Charm hitting here on Karthus. Foxfire gets him down to around third. Here comes the Spirit Rush, an Exhaust and a Flash. So Army will take that trade. She still has Flash. Ignite will be up in around 20 seconds, and she'll go back in when she can.
Yeah, that was really well played from the Nocturne to get the kills, considering he's done very little all game. He has just finished up Spirit of the Ancient Golem, so he is going fairly tanky, like we expected. However, that Caitlyn is now 4 for 2. She has got 2 components of her Infinity Edge, opting not to go for the BF sword straight away and picking up the pickaxe and the cloak of agility. She is miles ahead of this Varus right now, and this Varus is getting caught out. He is 1 for 3, and he basically got solo killed by the Caitlyn just then. It's not what you want to be doing in a lane that you're already losing. Nocturne, that's the first ultimate he used, and he is now level 9, so that's 1 ultimate over 3 levels. Probably hoping his team would have been hoping for him to hit a little bit more. However, Jarvan has been doing a great job of counter gank. He saw that fight was going on a while, and he could finish off that Nocturne fairly easily with a Cataclysm, followed by 1 auto attack. Obviously, Jarvan's auto attacks passive is Martial Cadence. He takes a little bit extra. He does a little bit extra damage, 8% of their current health as bonus physical damage.
Jarvan's actually going in on this Karthus. Lots of damage coming down. Jarvan's coming in from behind. The fears him towards towers. Spell shoot. Demacian standard misses. Here's the Lulu as well. There's the Help Picks. Cataclysm comes out. Glitter Glance misses because of it. Here's the Ari. Ari hits the charm on the Jarvan, but not going to be able to do anything from that. And the Nocturne just got a bit out of position there. Renekton going in top lane onto the Lysandra, just pushing her out a bit, using that Ruthless Predator just to get the stun. And Lysandra's going to turn it around and try and get a bit of extra damage down.
Yeah, Nocturne getting a bit greedy there. He could finish off the Karthus, and unfortunately just got himself cornered by 3 of the members from ACOG. Lulu moving out from that bot lane and really doing work across the map right now. She has got 6 assists and 1 kill. She has been involved in 70% more kills.
Renekton using dominance in top lane, gets ulted there by Lysandra. Lysandra's going to use Glacial Pass to get away. I think that might have been a bit of a bait for the Jarvan to come in, but Jarvan was a bit slow there.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Renekton's built Mercury Treads, but he's not rushing something like a Spirit Visage, which actually benefits him against a double AP composition quite well. He has built that giant spell, maybe moving in towards a Sunfire Cape like a lot of Renektons do. However, I would have expected a Spectre's Cowl to come out first. I don't know about you, I think that would have been more beneficial versus double AP. This bot lane, however, is really getting zoned. There is a 20 CS advantage for the Caitlyn right now. They're really pushing them out here, and that Thresh not working to the best of his ability. And Lulu, look at the coverage of wards she has in the river right now. There is wards all over the place. She's got a pink on Dragon, she's got a pink in the river side rush, and a ward in Tri. She knows if anyone is coming near them, and if Nocturne tries to ulti from anywhere but from his blue buff area, he's going to be doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that double gold per 5 really helping her out, just getting the gold for those wards there and just denying any vision for that Thresh. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen mid lane, because Jarvan has been there for quite a while now, just waiting for this gank. Nocturne's coming in as well. They're going to meet in this bush, and there's a Renekton there as well. Here comes the fear. Charm's going to miss the Karthus there. There's the Spirit Rush coming out. Renekton diving in. They're not quite sure who to target here. Army's just getting out of the fight, and Nocturne's going off towards the top of this fight. Is he going to be chased down by this Renekton? Oh, there's the Demacian standard coming across. A bit of miscommunication there. Cataclysm comes out on the Nocturne. I'm not sure this was needed. Spell shield. Fear comes out, Slice and Dice misses because Nocturne's just retreating. Lysandra's actually coming in round the back here. Is Lysandra going to be able to close this down? It'll be really interesting to see this. I can see a lot of damage coming down onto the Renekton. It looks like they might be able to take him down. He flashes away from the final bit of that fear proc. Karthus and Jarvan actually behind the side of this. They haven't quite got enough to be able to re-engage. Renekton just slicing, dicing across the wall. And that's that. Oh, Nocturne might get caught out here by the Jarvan and the Karthus. They don't know that Lissandra's in that bush until the Demacian standard goes down, and now they do, so they're just going to back out of that. Renekton going back to top lane, going to use that Cull the Meek just to get some health back.
Yeah, and that fight, Karthus did a really good job of zoning the Ahri out of that fight and skirmish with Renekton between Nocturne and Lissandra. He made sure the Ahri couldn't get anywhere near. If Ahri had come in, maybe that would have been the killing blow that they needed. The charm landing on Renekton would have been a kill for sure. But as we said, Karthus doing a brilliant job just keeping her away, and the CS differences between the two in mid lane is not that bad. Ahri opting for 3 Doran's rings, whereas Karthus has got a tier and almost finished his Rod of Ages. I can't help feel that Ahri has delayed her build a little bit, and it's probably not going to be to the best of her advantage. However, I think she's working towards a needlessly large Rod so she can get that Deathfire Grasp. However, bot lane have just taken that bottom turret. They've stretched their gold advantage to 5k almost. It's about 4.5, and it looks like they're going to try and
Thresh actually might go in on this Caitlyn here. Misses the death sentence. Couldn't quite judge which way the Caitlyn was going to go. She places the trap in there. Pinkwood comes across. Nocturne's there. Flay after the flash. There's the box, but the rest of his team aren't engaging. Jarvan's coming in from the side. There's the paranoia onto Caitlyn. Is this going to be enough damage? Fear goes off on Lulu. Oh, he's coming in. The dark passage is there, but no one picks it up. Charm hits on the Lulu. Lulu uses giant gun. Chain of Corruption, the hardest skill shot. Misses Jarvan coming in from the side. He's quite low as well. Varus might get taken down here. Nice Defile procs here from the Karthus. Ahri's going away as well. She uses Spirit Rush to get back in. Barrier for the Varus. Jarvan getting flayed away. Here's the Caitlyn and the Jarvan on the Varus. Requiem comes out. Lissandra's having to back away. Thresh might get away from this fight. Jarvan uses the flash. Demacian's down. There's the knockup. There's a kill for Caitlyn. And that is a 3-for-1 exchange there for ACOG over Manchester. That Requiem really pulling off work. Renekton's actually going in on Lissandra in the top lane. The Ignite goes down. Dominus is down as well. He's going to try and just tank this out. Lissandra uses her ultimate after Renekton had turned away a bit later. Karthus coming in here. Really low. Dustbringer getting a really low. Here's Ace in the hole. Spell shielded by the Nocturne. Really nicely done. Didn't think he had enough mana for that, but just manages to spell shield it, and he has to back. One lay waste would kill him.
Yeah, and you need some oxygen, my friend, because you just talked straight, and it looks like ACOG are going to further extend their advantage with the dragon right there. And unfortunately, guys, it's nothing we can do about the lag. It's not our end. It's either your end or Twitch. We apologise. We may drop down the quality if too many people are suffering from it, but at the moment it seems like the minority.
It looks like Jarvan might get caught off here by the Varus. Varus is getting lots of damage down. Lulu's there as well. Nice Glitter Lance. Taking about a quarter of his health actually just from the Lulu attacks, and she gets the pink ward as well. Really nicely played there by the Lulu.
And Defunct doing what I have seen him do Caitlyn every time. He has rushed that Infinity Edge. He has got an Infinity Edge at 17 minutes compared to the Varus, who is a little way off his Blade of the Ruined King. He is 6 for 2 though, so he can afford to go for those big items. He is going to be hitting hard these next few team fights. Lulu picking up the Boots of Mobility. She's now picked up that Sightstone. She's going to be a little bit more tanky. So I don't know what Manchester can do to get back into this. They're 6k gold down at 17 minutes, and Thresh getting caught.
Thresh just going the wrong way. They're getting taken really low, about a third of his health left, and that was just bad positioning there by the Thresh.
Yeah, we have dropped down the settings in games, guys. We're trying to see if we can stream at a lower quality, but unfortunately it's not quite our time. Yeah, so Lulu had all of the ultimates burn on her that last fight, and she did manage to wild growth herself, kept herself alive a bit more, but I think right now that the key targets like Karthus and Caitlyn are just too far ahead of the key targets for Manchester, Ahri and Varus. They're doing a lot more damage, and unfortunately Nocturne hasn't been using his ultimate to his advantage in these lanes. He could have used it early on, tried to get some early snowballs off, but he hasn't been doing as much work as the Jarvan. Jarvan has been all over the map right now. He's 4-1-5. That's 9 kills out of 13 he has been involved in. That is a good statistic for a jungler right here.
Yeah, and I mean, the Jarvan's just done a lot better than Nocturne has early game, really. Nocturne's had a couple of good ganks, used that paranoia, got those 2 kills in bottom lane really well, but since then, his ganks really haven't just paid off. And the Jarvan just seems to have a bit more coordination with his team. It's just able to be just a bit better in tanking and actually doing the damage. Here's the Demacian stand going out onto the Ahri. Ahri's just going to Spirit Rush away from that, and that was just Jarvan on Ahri. Jarvan actually almost getting a kill for himself there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who I favour here late game. Although I think Lissandra scales pretty well, I think Karthus scales better than Ahri and Lissandra together. He is one of the highest AP scalings mid laners in the game. Jarvan picking up that Spectre's Cowl, maybe moving towards a Spirit Visage, which would be very good versus this double AP composition. Renekton still really wanting to go for that Sunfire Cape, and it looks like he's paying for it in lane, taking a lot of damage from this Lissandra.
Carthus is actually going to engage on this Nocturne in middle lane. Nocturne engaged originally, and Jarvan came in from the side there to try and get some damage off. Not able to get enough off, and they didn't want to tower dive him.
Yeah, and this Lissandra and this Renekton are the only people in the game who have been involved in almost nothing all game. It has been a complete island in top lane. 0-0-0 for the Lissandra, 0-0-0 for the Renekton. 10 CS separates them. Renekton has finished off that Sunkai Cape, and he has now built a Negatron Cloak. He may now be going for that Spirit Visage, going for that full tank. They're going to have 2 full tanks on their team, Renekton and Jarvan, looking like they're building nothing but tankiness.
Lissandra's taking that turret in top lane, so she can start to roam a bit more now, which would be good for her team and good for Manchester just to try and get back in this game, because they are 6,000 gold down at around 20 minutes. The Baron will be spawning, Dragon, sorry, will be spawning relatively soon as well, so it'll be interesting to see if there's a play made for that. This Caitlyn really far ahead of the Varus though, and I think if they have a sustained team fight, the Caitlyn will just have more damage than the Varus.
Yeah, Ahri has just picked up her Deathfire Grasp, so maybe she can try and burst the Caitlyn if she gets into position properly, and Ahri with a Deathfire Grasp is scary at whatever point in the game you're in. Varus has nearly got his Blade of the Rune King. He's got all the components and 1,000 gold. He can now finish it, and he just has. Varus with Blade of the Ring is a little bit like Vayne. He has the percentage damage from his Blighted Quiver procs and the percentage damage from the Blade of the Rune King. It does make him fairly scary at bursting, or at least chunking down high HP targets like the Renekton, like the Jarvan, and Varus is a moderately good kiter as well, with his ultimate, with his hail of arrows, using the slow, and Lissandra has also picked up her Zhonya's. So this
he actually uses Spirit Rush in mid lane, misses the charm, going in for this, ignites down, there should be enough damage. She has to Spirit Rush again and flash out because she missed her Orb of Deception right at the end, so wasn't able to get the kill. Carthus is dead on the tower. Nocturne's going to engage on this Caitlyn. Caitlyn using the 90 caliber necklace to get away, and it looks like Jarvan might be going in on this top lane with this Renekton, but they're going to back away. He's going to meet up with Thresh here. Thresh is going to run away from that. Nocturne actually using Paranoid to try and go to Caitlyn. Oh, he's really low. I'm not sure this is the smartest move. Ace in the hole might come out, and the Nocturne is there to block it. Here comes Jarvan from the side. Ace in the hole as well. Hits the army. Lots of damage. Nocturne tried to spell shield it, but wasn't able to. Caitlyn might get enough damage on this Nocturne. Death Sentence comes out, just misses. Nice 90 caliber net. Here comes Varus as well from the side. Really bad position. Has to flash across the wall. Cataclysm comes out. There's the box. Is this going to be enough damage? Renekton coming in from the side. Spell shield. Really nice. Chaining corruption there. Renekton under the tower. Caitlyn's flashed in. Requiem comes out from Carthus as he spawns. Gets the kill on Nocturne. Caitlyn manages to get the kill on Varus with that help. Here's Lissandra. She's used her ult on this Caitlyn. It looks like Caitlyn might go down. Lissandra's burning, dead, and the Ice Queen has burnt to the ground there. Renekton's going to go in on this Thresh. Flay comes out, Meek, a double kill, and that's an ace there for ACOG over Manchester. They lost Carthus at the start of that fight, but as soon as he was up, he Requiemed and he won them that fight.
Yeah, that was a brilliant Requiem from Carthus. I think Manchester lost their only window of opportunity to get back into this. The pause has just come out. It looks like there's a bit of server lag. Jarvan's just disconnected. Yeah, I think Manchester may have lost their only opportunity to get back into this right now. They had some big item thresholds just hit, and item thresholds can be incredibly potent when coming to getting that advantage in team fights. Varus had just finished his Blade of the Rune King, Ahri had the Deathfire Grasp, and Lissandra had her Zhonya's. Those are some big thresholds for team fight presence for all 3 of those characters. Nocturne hadn't built much past the Spirit of the Lizard, Spirit of the Elder Golem, but I'm unsure if Manchester can now get back into this. I think the ACOG just pulled too far ahead with that ace, and unfortunately, if Manchester had fought that properly, if they'd done a 5v5 team fight with the item thresholds that they had reached, they may have been in a better position to take these team fights. But I just think that unfortunately, it's too late for them now, and I think ACOG, if they're smart, they'll do what they've done every single game, and they'll group up and they'll force team fights with their superior presence right now, with their superior AP. Lulu building towards that Aegis. She is going to get tanky. Caitlyn, she is currently sitting on 1,200 gold. She can probably go back and finish that Phantom Dancer. That'll be another item threshold that she needs to hit. Carthus, he's currently sitting on 1,300. He's probably going to be soon getting towards that needlessly large rod, probably building into a Zhonya's. He may even choose to finish off the tier of the goddess, which is currently stacked at 550, into an Archangel's and eventually into a Seraph's. Currently, ACOG are sitting on a lot of gold. The only player from Manchester who has got a lot of gold right now is the Ari, who is about 1600.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think ACOG have really, they just need to secure this game now. They've got their hands on it. They're like, we're in the grand final, and they just need to make sure they don't mess up, really. If they mess up, Manchester have the opportunity to get back in the game. Varys, I think, scales a bit better than Caitlyn does, and if they can manage just to get that team comp working at the end of the game with Lysandra going in, and the Nocturne going in, and the Thresh going in with the box, they might be able to win this game. But it's really got to be ACOG, I think, messing up before Manchester are able to get back in that game.
Yeah, I just think, unfortunately, an almost 10k gold advantage at about 24 minutes is just not brilliant for them. We currently have a screen overlay on the stream, guys. That's just because we're in a pause right now. It's so the players can't actually go and spectate each other. Obviously, they'll be able to see most things in game, but it's just for the advantage, so just so no one can gain from the advantage from the pause, obviously, because they can see ward coverage and things like that, and we don't want that unnecessary information being passed to either team. It does look like pings are going down on the Dragon from ACOG before the Jarvan disconnected, so it could be looking like ACOG are gearing up to take another global objective, which is the Dragon, pushing their gold advantage even that much further, hitting that 10k barrier. It does look like Jarvan has now reconnected, and the game should be getting on fairly quickly.
Yeah, hopefully.
And everyone cooling ready.
Just waiting for them to unpause the game, and we'll be back into it. We are on a 3-minute delay, as we said, so we don't want people just trying to cheat and watching the stream. But here we are back in the game. As we said, we think the ACOG are just going to gather around onto this Dragon, try and get that really quickly before Manchester have the chance to respond. And there we are, Dragon spawns, and they're just going to melt this down really quickly.
Yeah, they're doing a really good. They're doing a really good job of pushing these global objectives and taking that global gold advantage. They're really showing no Manchester right now. It looks like they were seeking revenge for that last final that Manchester beat them in, and they're doing a good job of it right now. Manchester, however, can come back and get revenge. Manchester will drop if they lose this. I'm not saying they have. If they lose this, they will drop into the losers bracket and fight the winner of Cardiff and Imperial for the chance to take ACOG in the final. However, it does mean they'll have to win 2 games as opposed to ACOG only having to win 1. Nocturne has got a lot of CS over the Jarvan, but unfortunately Jarvan has just got a lot of kills and a lot of assists. He has picked up his Banshee's Veil, good for negating things like Jarvan and Ari Charm. Nocturne Dustbringer and the Ari Charm. Also the Lysandra, if he tries to ultimate a Jarvan who has the Banshee's Veil on, he will also negate that. CS otherwise is looking moderately even between the two teams. Caitlyn does have 30 CS advantage over the Varys. Unfortunately, that's just another advantage that Caitlyn does have. I can see if Manchester can extend this into late game. I don't think they can, but if they can, they do have the better AD carry in terms of late game damage. They do have 2 AP high damage bursty type champions who can both do incredible damage to one target. Flashing a death sentence on the Lulu, probably just
it looks like Jarvan's actually closed in here. They just stole away this red buff, and looks like they might get engaged. Every skill shot is missing. Demacian Standard misses as well. Glacial Path coming in from Lysandra. Who's she going to hit with her ultimate? It hits the Karthus, I think. Karthus using the Defile. He actually takes down the Karthus there. Nice charm. The Nocturne is out at the top of this fight. Jarvan and Renekton might just be able to clean this up. Jarvan is going to be in the backline where Renekton dives in here. Ari's still on full health. Charm just misses, and they have to back away, so that's a 1-for-1 trade. Lysandra going down and Karthus going down, and this bot lane, Caitlyn have just been able to push this tower with Lulu.
Yeah, actually, Lysandra chose to ultimate the Renekton. I'm not sure that was the best target. He was on full health.
He's coming in here. Lands the charm onto this Jarvan. That's a dead Jarvan. Really nicely played. Jarvan was just way too low to be there.
Yeah, so I think that that choosing to ultimate the Renekton probably wasn't the best idea. He wasn't doing the most damage. He'd used Ruthless Predator and Kill the Meek. They weren't going to be up for a good few seconds. Probably the wrong target to ultimate. In fact, if I was her, I would have ultimated herself, because she was in the middle of 3 of them. She would have hit the damage onto all of them. But yeah, I mean, that was alright for Manchester. Considering they're that far behind, they did win that little skirmish, really. They did take out 2 for 1 in the end, get a shutdown onto the Ari for the Jarvan. She has picked up another needlessly large rod. That means she'll be doing a hell of a lot more damage every time she chooses to try and burst someone with Deathfire Grasp. However, Caitlyn is now sitting on about 1,400 gold. She will be soon getting that Last Whisper, and although the only armor that I've seen picked up has been on the Thresh and the Lysandra, he will be burning through most of that armor now. Obviously, Nocturne having Ninja Tabi as well. So, what do you think Manchester have to do here to even stand a chance of getting back into the game?
They just need to be able to pick people off. They're not managing to do it at the moment. Like, this is a nice engage here, but it's Ari's getting a charm onto Caitlyn. Caitlyn might go down to the Spirit Burst. Nice chain of corruption. Caitlyn actually goes down. Really nice pick off. Ari flashes out, but Nocturne's going to be in this defile, and Lissandra's coming in from the side. Lysandra actually used the ultimate on Karthus. Karthus might go down here. Varus coming in from the side. Is Varus going to be able to get enough damage? Death Sentence there. Varus gets the kill there on Karthus. Actually, Nocturne got it with a Dustbringer. Requiem comes out, and this Lysandra's going to come down as well. This is the problem with killing Karthus first. Lysandra using that Glacial Path, try and get away. Cataclysm, is this going to be enough damage from this Renekton? Yes, Jarvan and Renekton get the kill. That's the problem with King Arthur Karthus. Like, he's just going to use Requiem.
Yeah, and actually for Manchester that wasn't bad. Ari showing that she can do a lot of damage to a single target with that Deathfire Grasp.
Renekton actually engaging her on this Nocturne, using the Ruthless Pestilence. The Death Sentence comes off in the Jarvan. Is he going to go for the dive? Renekton hasn't. The random number generation of fear actually fears them away from tower. They might actually be able to push this tower down here.
Yeah, I don't think so. They haven't got any ranged DPS on it, so the wave clear from Nocturne and from Thresh will be pretty strong. Varus is just up. I think they're just going to back off and lick their wounds a little bit. They did take a little bit of a beating in that team fight. It's probably not winning it as decisively as they hoped they would be at being 10k up. Caitlyn actually opting not to go for the Last Whisper. She's looking to build a Blade of the Ruin King quite late into the game now. She has picked up most of the components. She's only 1,000 gold off finishing it right now. Varus, however, he's picked up a pickaxe and a dagger, probably in two minds about what he wants to build, whether he wants to build a Last Whisper or he wants to go into a Phantom Dancer. But again, people just sort of picking up here and there. Caitlyn finishing this Blade of the Ruin King, she'll become
Charm
very
actually landing
potent.
on Renekton. Renekton's going to dive in onto Ari, uses with his Predator, but they're going to back away. Wall of Pain actually hits. If Renekton had chased that up, they might have been able to pick her off, but Varus was coming in, and it would have been a bit dangerous.
Yeah, Ari has now finished this Sonya's, so she will have a little bit of invulnerability time that she can have against the Defile from Karthus, but Karthus has also finished his, so that will be time that he can spend free damaging with his Defile in Zonya's. It does look like ACOG are gearing up to try and clear out these Baron wards. They're also pinging the Dragon, as the Dragon may come up soon. Ari trying to land a charm, just misses. And we have a fight for this mid turret. The mid turret is on 49 HP. That's one shot from Varus, and that's a chunk of global gold going in favour of Manchester. Props to Manchester, they aren't giving up just yet, and that's what we like to see. It's getting slightly late into the game, and the later this gets into the game, I think it favours Manchester. However, they do have a big deficit to make up here.
Yeah, I think these are going to be the decisive team fights. If Manchester manage to 4 for 2 here, even 3 for 2 here, they're going to be getting back into the game. But if we see ACOG coming out on top of these team fights with Caitlyn left alive or with Karthus left alive, that's going to be a big thing. Jarvan actually going in here on the Nocturne using Dustbane to get away. The whole of ACOG were there. It's a bit split there for Manchester, but they decided not to go in. They're just going to get this Dragon after pushing Nocturne back.
Yeah, and Manchester opting to back from that, Thresh choosing to go back. All of the summoners are up, bar Ares, Flash, and a couple of barriers. For Manchester, they have all of their ultimates too, as do ACOG. The next team fight could be explosive if we see it. ACOG still have complete vision on the map for that Baron. However, there is a ward in the back of the Baron pit for Manchester. They will see when someone tries to clear it out. Lulu just going around with the oracles. She is giving that map presence, and she's clearing the Baron ward out from the back.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing to be able to do on support, but you do put yourself in quite a bad position. Death Sentence actually lands on the Lulu. Thresh is going to go in. Lysandra's there. The box comes out. Lulu not taking a huge amount of damage from this. It looks like the Wild Ghost's going to come on Lulu. Paranoia comes in. Lissandra's altered herself. Varus is going to kill this Lulu. Lulu getting caught off there. Renekton and Ari dueling out on the other side. Here comes Requiem. Going to do quite a lot of damage. Ari almost going down. Renekton getting pulled back in, and this Varus Ari combination is going to take him down. And Karthus is actually getting caught out on the other side. Managed to get this Lissandra. Looks like Jarvan might go down. The Nocturne spell shields that ace in the hole there really nicely. Here comes the charm from Ari. Ari might go down to Caitlyn. Caitlyn managed to get the kill. If Caitlyn can get in on this, everyone is really, really low, but she's not going to be able to get close enough. That was a really nice spell shield there from the Nocturne. Karthus did well, but it was a very split fight. I mean, a 2-for-2 exchange is really good for Manchester. They're going to be able to get back in this game with that, but they might lose the towers to this Caitlyn.
Yeah, they're still 12k behind. It looks like the two junglers are duking it out at really low health. Caitlyn just pushing hard onto this tower. She's very, very far ahead. She's finished that Blade of the Ruin King now. She's so far ahead of the Varus, it's almost going to be impossible for him to try and even pretend to try and defend this turret. Although the gold lead has been extending in terms of ACOG's favour just because of the global advantages they've been picking up, Manchester are doing okay in these team fights. They're going even and sometimes even taking the better of them. This is not bad for them. If they can do that a little bit more often, if ACOG don't put on the pressure quick enough, this could be good for Manchester. And I think ACOG need to group up and start putting 5-man pressure on. They need to start having proper 5-man team fights. Caitlyn wasn't in that team fight at all, and that's exactly what they want. They want to start engaging on terms where they know they can win. They can still win 4v5 when they're this far ahead. This is a blue buff going over to Caitlyn. They're stealing out. Nocturne tries to smite it away, gets battered back by the Lulu, knows he probably can't contest it.
I mean, that Lulu's done really well this game. She's been just a nuisance, really, which is what Lulu is. I mean, she's a little yordle. She just gets in your face and really annoys you and does a surprising amount of damage. I mean, going 1-3-13, really good on the Lulu support. And she's building a bit of AP as well here. It looks like she's going for the Morello Nomicon after getting that locket. And she's providing tankiness for her team. And it looks like actually, I was going to say the starting ages, but Lulu is just also attacking it there. Ace in the hole comes out just to get a bit of damage down. Actually tanked up by the Ari there. Caitlyn's just using it to harass a little bit. And they're going to start this Baron. They haven't seen that ward in the back of it, so Manchester know about this, and this could be huge. If Manchester can come across here and get a lot of damage out here, now they notice the ward. Are they going to stay on this Baron? Ari's there. Caitlyn's really out of this fight. Here comes Ari from the side. Charm lands on the Renekton. Death Sentence is going to come out from Thresh in a second. There's the Wall of Hate. Glacial Path. Lots of damage coming out. She entombs herself. Caitlyn's going to come in from the side here. Ari's really low. The box is going to proc on her as she runs through it. Cataclysm comes out. Varus takes out the Lulu. Nocturne takes out the Karthus, and this is such a good fight for Manchester, but here comes the Requiem. Is it going to be able to get enough damage? Requiem takes down the Ari, so Jarvan has killed the Nocturne. Lissandra's killed the Jarvan, and that's a 3-for-2 exchange. Can Caitlyn chase this down? Because if she can get close enough, this is going to be massive for ACOG. There's the ace in the hole, takes down the Varus, and that's a 3-for-3 with the AD carry of ACOG still alive. That's actually turned out in their favour, even though they didn't notice that ward.
Yeah, that was a brilliant fight for Manchester there. They defended the Baron, and do you know what? Lissandra did a brilliant job there. She locked the entire ACOG team, almost entire ACOG team, in place on the Baron pit. They were taking Baron damage that entire time. The ultimate on herself, hitting everybody, doing the full amount of damage. And although Manchester ACOG are now pushing with the Caitlyn and the Renekton, I don't think they're going to be able to take this tower versus Manchester. Lissandra's going in.
Lissandra's gone in. She used the Glacial Path to try and get on that Caitlyn. Caitlyn, nice death sentence there. Barrier comes out. Is the Flare going to come out here? Ignite goes down. Nocturne's back up, and lots of damage coming down from this Nocturne. The tower has been doing huge amounts of help for them here, and it looks like it's going to back away. Nocturne didn't use Paranoia there because it wasn't up, and I think the Flame might have really helped the Thresh there, just to be able to keep them under tower for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and Manchester are slowly clawing their way back in. There's still a big gold disparity between the two, and I think they're still going to have a tough time. But these team fights are not going in the way you'd expect from a team that's 11, 12k and ahead. I think ACOG are just having a bit of a lapse of concentration right here. Manchester are doing these team fights exactly how they need to do them. Varus has just picked up that last Whisper. He's built a chain vest, maybe looking towards building a Guardian Angel. Nocturne has picked up a Sunfire Cape. They are hitting some item thresholds that I don't think ACOG wanted them to hit. However, Caitlyn has got Last Whisper now too. She knows that she'll be bursting through some of the armor that Manchester have tried to build. Manchester and ACOG need to have a proper 5v5 team fight for ACOG to really hold the advantage, but it looks like they're trying to go for another Baron.
The
This could
Baron
be
didn't work out well for them at all last time. It's going to be interesting to see what Manchester can do about it. It looks like this might be a trap, in all
yeah.
honesty. Lulu's going down the back, trying to clear out
All
these
of the
wards.
ultimates are up now for Manchester. The only ultimate in the game that isn't up right now is the Requiem of Karthus, but it does look like
here comes
they
Thresh,
are
places
trying.
the ward in that bush. Jarvan was hiding in it. Ari's coming from the side, misses the charm. It wouldn't have done anything anyway because there's that Banshee's Veil up. Just looking to harass. Varus actually trying to take the red buff in the back. Here comes the Sandra up from the bottom. Lots of damage going down. There's the box. Lulu is actually focusing down this Ari. Ari has to dance up. Lissandra, such a beautiful entomb that it gets huge amounts of damage. Nocturne takes down Caitlyn in the back, and it looks like, oh, Requiem's going to come out. That's going to take down the Ari. Nocturne getting taken very low by this. Ari actually survives it with the Zonya. It's really nice play there. Lissandra's coming back in. Renekton might get taken down. Jarvan's going to get taken down. This is such a good fight for Manchester. Ari, Lissandra flashes in. Going to get down onto this Renekton. Thresh gets the kill. Such a good fight, and they're going to turn towards Baron. Are they high enough health to do this? No, they're running away. They're going to get turret, they're going to secure their advantage and make sure they don't die to Baron.
And I saw this Lissandra play in the first match. She has been turning these team fights for Manchester. How are Manchester winning these team fights? They are 10k gold. They clawed 2k back from that team fight. They are really, really, really showing ACOG that they mean business, even if they are this far behind. And this is exactly what ACOG didn't want. ACOG needed to get team fights on their terms, away from any disadvantages that they could have had. Manchester are going to turn onto the Dragon. This is going to be another K advantage in their favour. They just picked up a K from that turret. They're only going to be 8k behind. They just clawed 5k back in 5 minutes. And I think ACOG are probably going to be worried right now. They need to sort out what they're doing here. They need to really think about whether they want to keep trying this Baron, because at the moment they're not putting themselves in a good position, and ACOG are really starting to throw this game.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that I think is happening is Lissandra is just doing more than Renekton in team fights. She's just being able to get into the back line, get lots of damage off, using that entomb just to keep everyone slowed, keep everyone stunned in that area, and just doing huge amounts of damage. And just, even though she's not getting the kills, she's providing the kills for her team. The Varus is able to come in and clean up, the Nocturne's able to come in and clean up, as is the Ari. And although, as you said, they're now 7,000 gold, actually, blue team starting off this Baron again with only Karthus, Lulu, and Caitlyn here. Nocturne's going to come in, Renekton's in that bush, just waiting. Lissandra's going to come in from the back. She's done this so well in this game. Wall of Pain comes out on the Nocturne. They might be able to engage this Manchester if they play this right. Lissandra's still in the back, Nocturne flashing away. Ace in the hole comes out, goes to the Ari. Nocturne actually getting behind him. Renekton going in for the kill here on Varus, not going to be able to get enough damage off. Lissandra's still going to be able to come in from the back. Charm lands there on the Karthus. Nice flash there by the Renekton. 2 kills there. Caitlyn taking down the Ari, Renekton taking down the Nocturne. Lissandra's going to use Glacial Bar to get away, but Jarvan's actually engaged across the wall with that Tomasian stand. There's the Entomb. Cataclysm going off from the Varus. Varus getting lots of damage down on the Renekton. Lissandra gets taken down by Kate. Varus still alive in the back line. Requiem comes out. Is this going to be enough damage? Yes! So much damage there. It's going to take down the Varus. Caitlyn might get a kill here. That's a 5-for-0 exchange, and that's going to be game for ACOG. They just turned that team fight after catching the Nocturne so well.
And that was poor play from the Nocturne right there. Lissandra was in the top lane, too far away from the team fight to make any sort of impact, and I think this is going to be game. They had to rely on this Lissandra to really turn the team fights, and unfortunately, she was nowhere near that one. Nocturne just unfortunately putting himself a little bit too far out, sticking his neck a little bit too far out, and they capitalised on it. Renekton really chasing him down. I actually saw Renekton stun a minion, but it doesn't matter. Nocturne went down to the Ignite. The Requiem was up. It did a shed load of damage, and that is GG ACOG. They were looking for that Baron. They kept pushing that Baron, and unfortunately the gold lead they built up through mid game carried them through to late game. Manchester really well played to them. Any other team, and I think they would have been down and out by now, but Manchester's team fighting ability with that Lissandra and Ari pushing out that incredible amount of damage, really doing well right there. And unfortunately that one silly team fight, that one catch from Nocturne being caught, unfortunately that just threw the game for them. But really well played there by both teams, and hopefully we may even see them again in the grand final. But this is it, guys. ACOG are through to your grand final. They will be playing in some possibly best of 3, but they only have to win one game to win the tournament. We will now be waiting for the results between the next final, which I believe is between the winners of Cardiff and Warwick and Manchester now. I'm just going to see if I can find out who won. The other Lose It Bracket final has been paused for 30 minutes, so we're not sure when that's going to finish. It could be due to the server lag. But MVP of that match, who are you going to give it to? I think I'm going to have to give it to the Jarvan. He was all over that map right then. He put that early game pressure on and snowballed ACOG into a mid-game lead of about 10k gold. Do you agree?
I think the Jarvan did really well. I'm actually going to give it to the Lulu because I think she created such pressure in that bot lane against this Varus and Thresh combination who can really snowball really well if they get ahead and just allow that Caitlyn to free farm, to get some headshots off, to get some extra damage. And she did really well in the late game as well, just with that vision. She kept warding. They had the vision always. She had the oracles when Thresh didn't have one. She just allowed her team to have map control and she played really well in lane. And because I'm a support main, I'm going to give it to the Lulu.
I keep saying someone just told me I keep saying Cardiff instead of Imperial. Imperial actually beat Cardiff. So it's between Imperial and Warwick. I keep saying Cardiff for some reason. It's such an easy name to say. It's like Cardiff rolls off the tongue. But yeah, I was thinking about giving MVP to Lissandra. I think her presence in team fights really changed the team fights around for Manchester, but because they lost, I think it has to go over to the blue side of ACOG. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Jarvan, you'll give it to Lulu. But yeah, either way, ACOG played out of their skins right now. And we will be going into another game soon, guys. But thank you for listening. If you want to get involved and support us, we're at thenull.com. We're also at Facebook /thenull UK. We're also on Twitter at thenull. If you want any information regarding this tournament, go to thenull.com /preseason friendly 2. Thanks, guys, and we'll be back very shortly.